Morning guys, welcome back to my old tractor shed. Puttering away out here this morning, I want to have a look at the rock shaft covers. Primarily I want to get the plastic reservoir off the bottom and clean it. This is the 510 one. I don't really need to do anything with this. I really don't need to do too much with the other one either, other than I want to get the plastic reservoir off and clean it, I'm going to start with this one just to see how easy or difficult it is, because I certainly don't want to break anything, and I could probably stand that thing up on its end and dump the oil out. There's no drain plug. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to go about that. I don't have an owner's manual for this machine, so I don't know what the factory recommended. Anyway, no big deal. Just play around a little bit, figure it out. This is just for me to take apart, see if I start breaking bolts on this, well, I'm not going to fool with the other one. Let's take it apart, have some fun. All right, let me raise this up in the air and I'll rearrange that camera and I'll show you what I'm looking at underneath. This wire on this machine is a piece of copper wire. The wire on my machine is, well, I would assume stainless steel. So they were probably down in here, took that apart. Somebody, I have no idea who. But that's no big deal. Let me get that copper wire out of the way and I'll get all of these bolts out of here. I'm just going to do away with that copper wire and take these bolts up, and then we'll see where we go from there. Give me a minute. Looks like possibly some water in this one. All right, let me try and set this down without spilling this. Get a couple rags under here. That'll be better. Alrighty guys, I stood this up on its end to get a better look at it. I wanted to bring the camera in here and kind of look at how all this works. But I think what I'm going to do is get rid of the oil out of that sump and put this all back together. And I had made a little pine box for it just to protect that. I'm going to put this all back together and I'm going to put this out in the shed now that I see how easy this comes apart. I'll get my own set up and we'll get that off, and then we'll have a closer look at how this works. So give me a few minutes and I'll bring you guys back. Alrighty guys, I got the 510 rock shaft cover all buttoned up, sitting behind me. I put it back on that wooden box, put it back together best I could. I'm going to put that in the shed next time I got a little help. This is the one off the 710, basically did the same thing. Took the row of bolts out from the plastic tub. No issue there at all. Cork gasket, same as the other one. Washed this all up in the parts washer. Didn't find any metal chunks, which is nice, but there was a fair bit of sludge down the bottom, so I think if you have this off for any reason, it'd be a good idea to take this apart and clean this. But let me turn this other camera on and we'll have a look at a couple things. Alrighty guys, the other day I set this all up and I was playing with it and I tried to shoot some video of the internal workings. And I didn't have enough light, didn't turn out very nice, so I thought I'd redo that again. I need to make a dipstick for this and then put the plastic housing back on. I've made a gasket. I've got it all ready to go. But I thought I would just try and reshoot. I'm not sure how I'm going to cobble this together, but try and reshoot a little wee bit of a video for the internal workings. Again, I think I mentioned it earlier. I don't completely understand how this works. I mean, hydraulic cylinder, hydraulic valve. Okay, I understand how it works, but how all the adjustments and mechanisms, no, I really don't understand it. I don't need to do anything with mine. I took that plastic cover off simply to clean it, and I knew I needed to replace the dipstick, but I'm not taking anything else apart. There's nothing here I need to fix. As far as I know, there's nothing I need here to fix. Let's have a closer look at this. So a fellow had messaged me a while back. He had a problem with his. I think when he put the control lever, which is this outer lever right here, down, the 3-point hitch arms went up. And I had suggested to him that possibly one of these bolts had come loose. This is the shaft that goes in to control. And there's your lever there moving. I had suggested to him that perhaps something there had slipped. One potential problem. Let me move this camera. When you move that lever on the outside, this little arm, the shaft comes through there. There's actually a roll pin down there. If that fellow's watching, if that roll pin had broke or fell out, that would really mess things up. There's 2 little bolts right here, and you can't see it in the camera, but there's quite a good slot there. That, to me, looks like a pretty major adjustment. Let me move that camera and we'll look up the top a little bit. So this is the control valve itself. There's some kind of an adjustment here. There's an adjustment there. I had seen another one the other day, way down in behind there. Let me get a screwdriver. I don't know if the camera can see it or not. Actually, there's 2. I can't see the screen. In behind here, there are 2 screws that you could put a screwdriver on, and there's a lock nut on them. That's going to be some kind of adjustment. You can see when I move the lever again, this just moves. There's two rods that go in here. This threaded. I'm wondering if that nut should be up there, but I'm not going to move it. This has got some kind of locking mechanism on it. But these 2 rods go in. I'm pretty sure that's going to be something that activates that control valve. And anyway, just trying to get some close-up view for you. If anybody ever needs to get in here. There is also this little valve. That goes to a lever that's at the back. It's on the back of the final drive. It's a load sensing deal of some sort. It would push against that. Let me show you what's going on the inside. So when I move that little piston I just showed you, it can pull out or push in. You see, I can't quite see what it does, but that rod there, where's my camera? This is freaking awkward, guys. You can see that moves, and I can't quite see what it's doing, but it goes down in behind. It goes down in behind the control valve. It's restricting or doing something. Some kind of over limit deal. Just one more angle. You can kind of see how these things move. They don't move a heck of a lot in here, so a very tiny adjustment is going to have a very, very big effect on what's going on. All right, guys, just trying to show you how that kind of moves and what goes on there. Perhaps that can be useful to somebody. Perhaps you guys think I'm crazy. You might be right. All right. I'm just going to put this cover back on temporary like, and then I'm going to have a look at making a new dipstick for this. Let me bring that camera around. I'll kind of show you what's going on the other side. So this fitting here, that little fitting I've already taken off of the 510 and put here. This Y-shaped deal with this little rod sticking out the bottom, that was on my machine. I'm looking in the manual, the parts manual. I'll insert a picture here. Number 5 in the parts manual, they show some kind of a dipstick. So this homemade deal almost looks like there's some kind of a hydraulic quick disconnect there. They were probably using this as a return deal. But this doesn't even protrude to the bottom of the housing, let alone down into that plastic reservoir, so that's no damn good. And the one that the 510 had actually isn't a heck of a lot better. This just barely, bring the camera around the other side, it doesn't go down past the bottom of the housing into the pan, so it certainly isn't going to work. Let me bring the camera around. That's the end of the dipstick right there. Not doing me any good whatsoever. So, I've got a piece of, 3/16 rod. What I'm going to do is take that dipstick out and put this in, and hopefully you can see that it comes down. Yeah, so I'm going to put the plastic housing on, temporary, 2 bolts, and put that in and mark the top. Think about this. Actually, I don't need to do that. I can see quite clearly that it doesn't hit this as long as I weld it straight. I don't know if I got that welded off crooked, I would have a bit of a problem, but I can do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I've already made up the gasket here. I'm going to put this back on and then get this thing up right. I can put that rod down there until it touches the bottom, and then lift it up, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, whatever, and weld it to the end of this one. I'll have to grind this one off, drill it, whatever, and then just make sure that I weld it straight. That's easy enough to do, I think. Famous last words. Yeah. Let me do that. I'll bring you guys back. Alrighty, guys, getting this plastic tub back on. That was a bit of a PR. Plastic tub has shrank or distorted ever so slightly. Trying to get the bolts lined back up and through the gasket was a bit of a PR. I managed to get the ones across the bottom, and then I got a screwdriver in, the adjacent hole, and pry it up. I actually had to get my sweetheart to come help me. I needed more than 2 hands. So I got that done. They're all tight, and I tried to line up the holes for this wire. I'd already started. I was just waiting for the furnace to shut off. So let me get this finished wiring this. I'll put my block of wood back on, and then we'll have a look at that dipstick. All right, I think that's going to work. My plan was just to drop this down in here. So it's hitting the bottom. I'm going to take this one, close-up camera. I'm going to take and grind off this little bit of weld and get that out. And then I'll go find a drill bit that's the same size and drill that. And then I'll just tack it. Give me a second, make some noise, I'll get that done. All right, so I just ground off the weld that was on the end of that and drilled a hole, broke the piece of wire out of there and drilled a hole. So now that slides through there nice. All I'm going to do is put this in, and I'm going to just loosely tighten that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift this, not sure how much, I think I got a mark there where it is. I'm going to lift it. You know what, I'm going to lift it 1 inch, and then I'm just going to get the MIG welder and tack that. Give me a second. I'm going to tack it, and then I'm going to take it back out, and I think I'll just roll it and see if that nut wobbles. Or this is a bit of a challenge. My auto darkening helmet died. I'm waiting for Santa Claus to bring me a new one, and it also had cheater lens in it. This old standby one here doesn't, so it is a challenge. I might not show you this. Okay. Try that. Not a real scientific thing here, but I've got the rod on the table and the nut right at the edge of the table, and I'm just rolling it. I think that's pretty good. And when I was taking it out of there, the only thing it touches, if I wiggle it, is the front of the plastic. I don't think it's going to get caught up in anything. So let me try and... Actually, I think I'm going to put it back in to weld. It's the easiest way to hold it. Good enough for the girls I go with. Yeah, I don't think it's hitting anything. All right, I'm going to let that cool. What I need to do now is I'm going to put this back on top of that little cart I had to free up this little forklift high lift. I want to get going on putting the rear axles back in. I've taken the filter out of the rock shaft from the 510. I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to take that to my, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get a filter for that. I'm going to pop that one out and have a look at it. Any kind of luck, maybe it's got some aftermarket part numbers on it. That'll be nice. Other than that, I think I'm done. I got to let that cool, and then I'm going to cut that wire off. So I think we're going to end this here, guys. Appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out in the shed with me. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time in my old tractor shed. Ciao.